The Champions League campaign is less than a week to go. So it's time for UCL Fantasy managers to finalize on what teams and especially what strategy to consider for the season. Hi everyone, I am the FPL Manner and my name is Adewale Additional, and I'm going to be talking about the UCL Fantasy Chief Strategy in this video and telling you on the best approach I feel is the next way possible. It's inspired by popular TV series Succession. I came up with a little bit of techniques I feel will help you do better this season. So stay tuned for more. Hello once more. Now we're back into the video and I'm going to talk about the UCL Fantasy. UCL Fantasy, for those who don't know, UCL Fantasy is basically Champions League Fantasy in short, and in this video I'm going to be talking about what strategies we should consider going forward. But first, let's take a quick stroll into what I'm about to schedule into, what I'm going to go into. So now, for those who have never seen Succession or are wondering what is Succession even about, let me summarize it for you in a minute without any spoilers whatsoever. Succession is a TV series about a media company called Wildcard. It's a heavily business related series and it gives you an insight on how the business world is actually very cruel and all of that. Now the head of this company is known as Logan Roy. Along the line, he inducted his children into the business and they go as follows. We have Kendall Roy, Shiv Roy, Roman Roy and Connor Roy. Now there are other characters I have not talked about or I won't be talking about, but I'll probably introduce them also. We have Tom, the husband of Shiv Roy, and some other characters like Greg, and the list goes on. Basically, these are all greedy characters, only pushing each other's self-interest, and along the way it appears the CEO, who is Logan Roy, wants to move on and hand over the keys to the next in line. Now this goes back and forth for like about 3-4 seasons. Who's going to be next in line, does he sell the company, and so on and so forth. And he ends in a really big highlight. The end will actually really bust your bubble. So yeah, I mean, look at the score on Rotten Tomato. Look at the score. It's a fabulous series, so check it out. Moving on to the fantasy aspect of this. Why am I even talking about Succession? Like, what is this guy talking about? I mean, you came here all for UCL fantasy content and you are hearing this guy blabbing about the series. So, okay, after watching the series, I came up with a summary from the show of 3 characters who I think fit perfectly with what our Champions League fantasy is, based on our risk appetite or our character traits. So, and all these strategies are very promising, entering into the new season, and I'm going to be talking about them below. So, here are the strategies. I have 1, the killer, 2, the diplomat, and 3, the loyalist. But before I get into these strategies, firstly, allow me to talk about the chips themselves. So in the game, UEFA Champions League, if you have not signed up by now, quickly check at gaming.uefa.com. That is where we play the game. So the game has 2 chips, Wildcard chip and the Limitless chip. Now, the Wildcard chip gives you unlimited transfers and could be used to remove the entire 15 players you have in your team and replace them permanently. Now, the Limitless chip is something like the Wildcard but different. It gives you not just unlimited transfers but also an unlimited budget. Literally, you don't have a budget at this point. You are picking any player you feel like getting your team and they will all fit in. So it gives an unlimited budget to select a new team just for a single match day, after which your original team will return to how it was previously. So it's sort of like the free hit chip for us that played FPL, Premier League Fantasy, and but this time no budget restrictions. Can you note that once you play any of your chips, it's gone for the rest of the season, just like any normal game. Yes, also approaching the chips, the best time seems to be during the group stages. Most of the managers that usually start well and finish well end up using most of their chips during the group stages. However, it's not impossible to see some managers use them in the latter stages because we get increased transfers in the latter stages. 5-3, 5-3, first leg 3 transfers. Okay, first leg 5 transfers, second leg 3 transfers, like that. The list goes on. I'll probably attach a picture for you to see. Now, for the clarity of this video, for the sake of clarity, I will be making known some abbreviations, to check them out on the screen somewhere around here. So now back to the strategies. What are these killer strategies? What are these diplomat strategies and loyalist strategies? So that's what I'm here to break down. So the first strategy we have here is the killer strategy. The killer strategy, talking about you playing your limitless in match day 2 and wildcarding in match day 3. Now, another synonym for kill is to squash or smash. Now, the killer move here is an FPL manager, or rather a UCL Fantasy manager, being a ruthless manager, killing or playing their chips very early into the game to attack the easier fixtures. The plan here is to play your limitless in match day 2 and wildcard after, so that you could get in informed players. So being a killer, you can pick a squad that plays against the underdogs and capitalize on having a good start with the aim to get rid of these players in match day 2. For example, looking at the schedule or the fixtures going forward into next week, on the 19th, when the season starts properly, Man City play Ruvena.
Hey y'all, come look at this.
Zenda. Ruvena Vensdaus, please. Man City play Cruvena Zenza. You get the point. Man City play a smaller team, and so the idea here is to triple up on City assets in match day 1 and get rid of these same City players maybe when they play a tougher opponent, that is Leipzig, in match day 2, and play wildcard in match day 3. So the same concept applies to other games I'm going to list below. Young Boys versus Leipzig, triple up on the Red Bulls, the Red assets, that is the Dani Olmo. He's out currently, he's injured, but he can be available before the Daniel Olmo, Xavi Simons, or David Ram, or Blavsky, the goalkeeper, Blaswich, the goalkeeper rather, and so on. You triple on those assets and you get rid of them when they play Man City in game 2, and you play your wildcard to take them out permanently. So that's the idea of using your using the killer strategy. You understand? Same applies to Barcelona versus Antwerp. The same thing, you triple on those players, you take them out when you're playing Porto, and so on and so forth. So just basically target easier games. Now, though this appears optimal on paper, however, there is a minor setback, which is planning ahead for the raining day. What's this raining day? Raining day is basically match day 5 and match day 6. Those are usually the last 2 games before the group stages are done with. However, usually around match day 4, we have 2 to 4 teams who may have qualified. Hence, such teams tend to rotate. So if you can find a way to mitigate the rotation, maybe take a -4 or save your free transfers, which normally we have 2 free transfers every week, you can use it to mitigate those possible headache like the pep roulettes and all of that. So that's the killer move. Moving on to the next strategy, I call this the diplomat. Now, the diplomat is a very tactful person. That's the definition of it on online, the Google and all of that. But what does this mean? The diplomat basically waits a while, watches a few games, and analyze the statistics, waiting for his or her moment to strike and surprise everyone. And this happens when you don't wildcard as early as match day 2. You wait to wildcard in match day 3 and use your limitless either match day 5 or match day 6. Now, why match day 3? Why can't you wildcard early like everyone? So what happens is this: match day 3 and 4 are very special, unique games, and these are just a few weeks apart. We have teams usually playing each other week, like the same teams that play each other on match day 3 will face each other on match day 4. So basically, we call them reverse fixtures. You play at home, you play me at home in my stadium, I travel to your stadium 2 weeks after and face you. So basically, reverse fixtures. So what a diplomat will do was watch the match day 1, to take out 2 or 3 players for match day 2. Don't play a wild card. Wait for match day 3. Look at the teams that you see getting potential points. Wild card, then maximize the 2 game weeks back to back. Then use your limitless when your rotations become too serious at the end of the group stages. So that's the Diplomat Strategy. So you're basically looking a killer in this week because you're trying to target also weaker positions who fell short in match day 1 and 2, then holding the limitless for the rotations, as I said before. Now the plan here is to wait at least 1 match day and so on and so forth. I've mentioned this already. The plan here is to wait at least 1 match day and wildcard for match day 3, aware of the reverse features in match day 4. Probable games to target here are listed below. I'll quickly type them and put them on the screen and move on to the next strategy. The strategy 3, the Loyalist. Why the Loyalist? I know you're wondering why these names are so funny. Like, why is he naming this? So I named this based on the characters in the series and how I perceive them to how UCL fantasy managers will actually adapt their tactics. So I call this the Loyalist Strategy because why? Have I heard the quote of good things come to those who wait? Loyalist is loyal, literally, to the cause and not moved by the killer or the diplomat. He is not moved. He is solely focused on the long run and waiting for his moment. What is this strategy? His strategy is to either wildcard in match day 3 like the diplomat would, but instead of leaving it for the end of the group stages, he can proceed to leaving it even to the latter stages, the quarterfinals, the semi-finals. You understand? So now, this is not a very popular strategy, but it has worked in the past for some. Some are finished very high, top 100, ranking due to this rank. So it still works. It works. There's a proof that it works. The Loyalist is also a very tactful manager. You understand? He's waiting for his moments, and he can decide to, be unpredictable and instead play his wildcard or limitless either in match day 3 instead of a wildcard. Then wildcard maybe much later into the competition. So vice versa. The Loyalist basically has the advantage of what role he can play. So anywhere he sees an opportunity to delay the wildcard, he will delay it or apply it whenever no one guesses him to do that. So probable games Loyalists want to attack is basically match day 5 or match day 6. Match day 5, if the Loyalist leaves his wildcard till or that moment or limitless to that moment, games like Bayern versus Copenhagen are games to target. PSG versus Newcastle, in that group F where it's very tight and very serious. If PSG are currently on top of the group and looking for a way out to qualify, we want to target such games. Match day 6, there are also nice games there like Leipzig versus Young Boys, the reverse of what will happen in game match day 1 now, or target group F. So there's so many ways you could go about it. So that's my conclusion. In conclusion, that's my video, honestly. In conclusion, there are lots of strategies UCL fantasy managers can use. Even some I may have not mentioned, but this is centered around a succession-based team, and this best fits the characters. I may have missed out on a few characters you would have expected me to speak on, but this is where I am now. So, what strategy do you feel works best for you? Feel free to suggest. If none of mine is valid to you, feel free to suggest and tell me what strategy listed above you would like to use in the comment below. Also, big credit to the show Succession 2018 to 2023. Feel free to check it out later. It's a very interesting series, highly recommended. Thanks for staying through the end of this video. Until next time, bye bye.